Yo, what is happening, guys? Nathan back once again with another episode of the Unplugged Freedom Podcast. And in today's video podcast, I wanted to share with you a little bit of information on standing up for what you believe in. And so it's very relevant in today's society as to what we're going through, and it's very important because you see a lot of people, they're crumbling to the government corruption, to the corporation corruption, the overreaching powers that are, forcing people to do things that are just against just basic human rights. It's incredible. And so a lot of people are folding and just giving in, and they're saying, like, whether it's wearing a mask or it's rolling up their sleeve or whatever it is, it's unfortunate. And when you stand up for what you believe in, when you make that choice, that's when you're honest with yourself. And I've done a lot of things where I stood up for what I believed in. There's a story you can go back in my actual episodes of the podcast. If you don't have the podcast, Unplugged Freedom Podcast, on Spotify, Google, all those places for podcasts. And so I shared a story about the best $11,000 I ever spent. And the reason I made this decision, that was $11,000 I didn't have. And I took out a loan that was like interest rate through the fucking moon. But the reason I did that is because I stood up for what I believed in. Everybody told me I was wrong. They said, Nathan, why would you spend that money? You know you're guilty, you know you're wrong, you know you did something bad. Why would you spend that money? And there was something inside of me that just said, like, no, like, yes, you are right, but I know for a fact that I never would have done such a thing in a different scenario. And because of that, I need to fight this. And it was something that I needed to do because I believed in, I wanted to stand up for what I believed in. And despite everybody, I remember even one of my bosses at work, he just like grilled into me hard about what I was doing. And so it was brutal. I was like, dude, like I remember leaving his office and I just felt like shit. But the thing is that I needed to do what I believed in. And I was like, no, I don't have this money, but I'm going to get this money. And I'm going to put forward with this money and it was such a gamble. It was such a gamble. But I said, you know what, even if I lose this, at least I know whether or not, like, at least I tried. At least I gave it my all, and I didn't just give in. I didn't just give up. And so that's why I say it was the best $11,000 I ever spent, because I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have been able to do all the things that I've been able to do in my life. That was 12 years ago that was from. And like my whole life, like in the past 10 years, could have been completely different because of that. So if you want to hear more about that story, that's the best $11,000 I ever spent. And like, honestly, like, I stood up for what I believed in. And I remember when I got, when I got the result from that $11,000, I was just like, wow. Like, it was unbelievable to me as to, you believe wholeheartedly in something, and despite everybody telling you that you're wrong and that you should just accept this or accept that outcome, you kept pushing forward, you kept pushing, and I paid for that money forever because it was such a high interest rate. Like I said, it was money that I didn't have, but I believed so much that I had to give it my all. I had to try it no matter what. Whether I come out, whether the outcome is good or bad, I had to give it my all. And so it turned out great. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be who I am today without having made that decision. It was such a gamble, and here I am. I look back at it like 12 years later, and it's amazing. So in today's world, we have mandates, we have kids going to school and being muzzled. We have now, what is it, the forced mandates in kids sports, in kids schools, like all these things. And we have people who are just giving into it. Parents are just giving into it. They're just, it's unfortunate. And so we have to give it our all, we have to give it all, like our all, because especially if you have children. If you have children, I don't have children, but I know for a fact if I did have children, I would die for what I believe in, to show my children that is what you do. When you believe wholeheartedly in something, you stand up for what you believe in, no matter what. You don't give in. And so I know people who are in unhappy marriages, and they'll tell me, their specific words are, I don't want to fuck up my kids. And it's like, you're gonna fuck up your kids if you stay in this unhappy marriage. Like, like it's crazy to me. So you believe wholeheartedly, especially if you have kids, you got to stand up for what you believe in. And in a few weeks time, I'm probably going to be without this job. I'm not too worried. Part of me wants them to kick me out. Part of me says I'm not quite done yet with what I'm doing with the job. Gathering intel for the Russians. No, I'm just kidding. Good. But what I'm saying is that you stand up for what you believe in. We got an email saying, hey, you need to update your status in the system. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll update my status, okay? And if you don't like what I put under my status, then, you can come talk to me, okay? You're gonna have to fire me. You're gonna have to kick me out. You don't own me. I'm nobody's slave. I'm not just some number that you can replace. If you think you can replace me, then go ahead. I know it costs you millions of dollars to have someone in my position. What is this, like 2.5 years now? For the company to get somebody to last 2.5 years literally costs them millions of dollars. It is insane, the amount. You start in one class, and the amount of people who would be where I am 2.5 years later, there's maybe on one hand you can count. So I know that it costs them millions of dollars. So that's what I say, is if we all were to stand up for what we believe in, especially in a situation like now, we run the show. They don't run the show. We run the show. For us, we could shut down a whole entire country in 7 days. We did it before. We did it 2 years ago. 2021, 2 years ago. We did it 2 years ago. Oh yeah, government was thinking about stepping in and saying, like, guys, you gotta do something. And we were like, no, we're standing up for what we believe in. Good-hearted guys, men and women, didn't go into work, went on strike, shut down a whole country, and didn't receive pay for that. So, that's standing up for what you believe in. And so that's what we need more of in today's society and in today's world. We need that now more than ever. And we are seeing it, but we need it wholeheartedly. And so don't ever not stand up for what you believe in, because at the end of the day, even if you die, I've mentioned it before in the book The Alchemist. Santiago says, what if I die? And then the alchemist says, well, at least you will have died on your journey of your personal legend. And that's better than millions of other people and how they die. And it's so true, because you can die trying to go down your journey, going for what you believe in, or you can die going, giving into the crowd, living a life that is not yours, living a life that is expected of you from other people. And so where would you rather die? Would you rather die in a nice big mansion that you're unhappy, you're unfulfilled, you don't have a good marriage, a good spouse, whatever? Or would you rather be living in a little shanty out in the sticks. You don't have anything, you don't have any close people around you, you don't have whatever, you barely have running water and electricity, but it's your life. It is your life, and it's what makes you happy. And let's say you died alone out there. Well, guess what? At least you died living your life and not somebody else's life. Because there are so many people out there who they've got the degrees, they've got the education, they've got the job, they got the car, they got the suits, they got all this stuff. But if you were to dig deep into their soul, you would realize that they're not happy. They're miserable. They're broken down. They're just doing it because that's what's expected of them. There's documentaries out there. I think one is called I'm Fine. What is it? What is it called? It's called I'm Fine. I wish I could remember what it's called. It basically was documenting people who were doctors, who were lawyers, who seemed to have everything. And when you look at them from the outside perspective and their life, you would say, wow, like they've got the epitome of success. But deep down, they actually didn't. They were unhappy, they were unfulfilled, they had the house, they had the career, they had everything, and they were like, I don't get it. Like, what's wrong? Like, I have everything. I have everything I was told to strive for, but I'm not happy. And so that is the thing in this world. So you gotta stand up for what you believe in. For me, myself, I believe what is happening in this world is absolutely wrong. It is absolutely horrendous, and it kills me when I have conversations with people, and you can sit there and be talking with them for like half an hour straight, and then about how corrupt this whole thing is, and they're telling you, you're not telling them, and you're like, wow, you get it. And then all of a sudden they're just kind of like, yeah, but I decided that I'm gonna go get mine because, like, how are you supposed to have a life? Can't even go into restaurants, can't even go to a concert. I'm like, dude, like you're just folding, you're giving in. And that's the most painful thing to me, is just like seeing these people who know that what's happening is corrupt, who know what's happening is wrong, and they're just giving into it. And it's so terrible. And it's just like, wow, like you just folded like that. You just gave in, and it's crazy to me. So I'm kind of standing there. Like, there's people who I thought were cool. Turns out they're not. And I'm like, okay. I'm looking at my circle, and I'm like, the circle's pretty small. Like, it was small to begin with, but now it's circled. It seems to be like just me in here. So it's crazy, especially like the job that I work in. There's I've only met one person who said that they're not going to be following through, and I was like, wow. There's another guy, I guess there's another guy way up north, and so he said he's not going to be, but we'll see, because as we get closer, there was a lot of people talking, but then there's a lot of people, who they were forced, their arm was twisted, and the reason I say it's twisted is because if we were to all stand up and just say, no, we're not doing that, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Like, we got to stand up for what we believe in. We got to have this conversation with people. We got to stand up and, voice our, not necessarily just our opinions, but these are our rights, right? These are our freedoms. This is not our opinions. It's not my opinion that I should be able to go into a restaurant and sit down and enjoy a meal. That is my freedom. It is not my opinion that I should be able to go to a movie and enjoy my country that I live in. It is my freedom. So it's not necessarily voicing our opinions. It's voicing our freedoms and voicing our rights as a human being. So I just wanted to shoot this video quickly just before I headed out for my workout, and and do that while it's still free, right? Like, luckily I work out outside, so I don't need to show no stupid fucking bullshit. But who knows? Like, if it comes to Australia, like how it is in Australia, I won't even be able to do that soon. So that's the crazy thing. And that's also the interesting thing is, if it came to Australia, like how it is in Australia, I sometimes wonder how I would be, because I have a very strong opinion. I have a very thing towards authority, especially when authority is out of, when they're not right, when they're not in the right, they're in the wrong. So I always wonder, how would I be in a situation like this going in Australia? So we'll see. We'll see. Um, we're gonna find out. So, anyways, guys, we gotta stand up. We gotta stand up for what we believe in, and I hope you guys do. And if you have kids, if you have dependents, you have people who depend on you, if you have people who look up to you, and it's coming. There's a big shift that is happening. There's all the days of the crazy conspiracy theorists, the loudmouth, obnoxious people. Those guys are done, okay? Because now the real people, the everyday people, the credible people, the entrepreneurs, the business owners, the family people, like these people are now being affected. Everyday people are being affected, and these people are standing up. Look at Julie Ponesse from Ontario, who got fired from her university as a professor. She's a doctor. We've got nurses that are being fired, doctors that are being silenced. We have scientists, police officers. We have everyday people like me. But the thing is that like there's a huge shift that is happening because everyday people are being affected now. So because of that, more and more people are waking up, more and more people are speaking out. But it truly is a war. It's a warfare. It's a psychological warfare. It's an information warfare. And we can't just give in. We can't just say, oh well, how else am I supposed to go to a concert? How else am I supposed to travel? Like, you got to do it. Even though I know it's corrupt, you got to do it. Like no, you're giving in, and that's what we must not do. And so many people are doing it, and that's the scary thing. So we just have to recognize that it's wrong, because if we give in to it, then we're just folding and handing all the power over to them. So standing up for what we believe in. Like I said, if you want to check out the story, best $11,000 I ever spent, you can check out my podcast on the podcast app. Really good story. Like it's really good. Very close to my heart. And like that was standing up for what I believed in, and I always do. I don't care who you are, what you are. Like when I was in the military, I had people like in my face, like inches away, just screaming at the top of their lungs to me. And, I was like, you know what? Like, if you think that you can get to me, you have another thing coming. You are nothing to me. You can yell, you can scream, you can hit me, you can fucking beat me down. Like, you can do whatever you want. But I'm going to stand here and I'm going to take it, and because I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. So it's just interesting, like you throw shit at people. Whereas like, I remember in that situation right there, with the guys just screaming, like these are people who've like been to Afghanistan like multiple times, been to Bosnia, and they've seen some shit, they're not your crazy fucking Karens, right? They're just scary dudes. And then there's Robbie, who's standing next to me, and this guy's just fucking in our face, and then you can hear it from down the hall. When we walked out of that room, everybody, like, you could hear a pin drop. Like, everybody was like, and I walked out of there like, whatever, dude. Like, this guy thinks he can yell at me. This guy thinks he can fucking bite my head off. Like, I don't know who he thinks he is. He thinks he owns me. He thinks that I'm some kind of like fucking, puppy dog that's gonna cower down to his fucking intimidation. Like, no, sorry, it doesn't work like that with me. And a few days later, because he was trying to tell us to do a certain specific thing, but I knew I was in the right, I walk in and he knew right away that I didn't follow what he wanted me to do. Meanwhile, I look over and Robbie, who was standing next to me, getting the same fucking spit in the face treatment. Robbie, I looked over and you could see that he followed the rules. I didn't, because I knew I was in the right, and there was nothing that they could do. No amount of yelling, no amount of fucking beating, no amount of like anything, intimidation or anything, because I knew I was in the right, and I wasn't gonna cave in to their intimidation. So Robbie did, unfortunately. He looked over at me and he's like, I'm like, bro, like, what are they gonna do? Like, you can't do anything. Fight me, you know? And so that is just standing up for what you believe in and not giving into intimidation, not giving into the bullshit, not giving into any of this, the bullying. And like, there's so much bullying, there's so much hatred, there's so much coercion, bribery, threatening. There is so much it's crazy what is happening in the world today. And so we must not give in. We got to stand up for what we believe in. It's going to get tough. Like I said, on August 5th, I'm pretty sure it was, I recorded a podcast. I said it's almost time to be worried if you're not protected. And within a matter of a weeks, just things changed so fast. It was insane. And I'm like, holy moly, I just recorded that podcast like a few days ago, basically. And here we are, like, we just like fast forwarded so fast. It's insane. So we're headed for a storm. We're going right for the eye of the storm. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be shitty for a lot of people. But like I said, we gotta stand our ground. I know that I am. I know that I know a lot of people who I know are going to as well. And you know, when it comes crunch time, we're gonna see what happens. So if it does come down to what's happening in Australia, you're gonna see some crazy shit happening. And I'm hoping Canadians are going to stand up for what they believe in. And you know, Americans I can rely on. Canadians, I'm sorry Canadians, but I've traveled. I've seen what people are like elsewhere, and I'm not surprised that you know, Australia is standing up the way that they are, because those guys are awesome. Those guys are like fucking strong. And so I just hope that we as Canadians have that same strength. But prove me wrong, please. And as for Americans, if I am proved correct, unfortunately, help us. Because I know that the Americans are they got more backbone than Canadians. But what I'm hoping and banking on is that when you piss a Canadian off, when you piss a nice person off too much, you ever piss a nice person off? It's terrible. So I'm hoping we're gonna get that on a bigger scale when shit hits the fan. So we'll see. But don't let me down, Canadians, Americans. If they let me down, help me out. But from what I see so far, my faith in Canadians is just kind of like, we'll see, because I know where I'm at, and I'm willing to die for this shit, and I'm gonna be on the right side of history. And the question is, are you going to be on the right side of history? And you're gonna stand up for what you believe in? Are you gonna show your children, your family, leave a legacy for yourself? Or are you just gonna give in and say, hey, just be part of the science project like us, you know? Like, just do what everybody else is doing, you know? Just stop fighting the system. Like, and I could really talk about this shit for hours. It's just crazy, like the stuff that I see on a daily basis, especially like even at my work. So anyways, guys, we gotta stand up for what we believe in, and I hope that you do. I hope that everything works out for you, and you know, people are there for support. It's coming. So anyways, I'll talk to you soon.